All right, it's time for the Beach Brothers Show. It's time for the Beach Brothers Show. It's time for the Beach Brothers Show. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I'm Seko Varner, and I'm here with two of my great friends. This young man here is our business bully. He goes by the name of Jose Cruz. What's up, Jose?
Nothing much. How you doing, everybody?
All right. And then this gentleman on the bottom, he goes by the name of Conrad, and he's running for Virginia Beach City Council. Isn't that crazy? What's up, Conrad? How are you doing?
Very, very crazy. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well, too.
All right. Just coming off of a 4th of July weekend. So we want to say happy birthday to our beautiful country. Also, not too long ago, we had our Juneteenth weekend, so we want to say happy freedom to our beautiful country as well. So Juneteenth and then 4th of July, it's a great time to be alive in the United States of America. Yes, sir.
Indeed.
All right. Good stuff. Well, today we're going to have a really great show. I want to make sure that everybody knows that if you're interested in appearing on our show, get in contact with Conrad. Conrad is our booker for the show. He's also running for Virginia Beach City Council. Get your financial house in order. So contact Jose for that. Also, if you have a business and you'd like to have your business featured on the show, get in contact with Jose. He's the person that takes care of all of that. And I'm your local serial entrepreneur. All right. I want to say thanks to Tally and Twine. Tally and Twine always comes through with some beautiful watches. So if you're looking for that beautiful, exquisite watch, you're looking for that timepiece so you can stay on time, be on time, remain ahead of time, well, make sure you get your Tally and Twine watch. They're built right here in the Hampton Roads area in the 757. So Tally and Twine watches, we thank you for everything that you do for the Beach Brothers Show. And I'm wearing my Tally and Twine watch. And I know that Jose is going to buy one for his daughter.
You got to call me out like that.
Good. We need to get Conrad a Tally and Twine watch. We'll have to work on that. All right. So if you're somebody who needs to have their credit fixed, get in contact with me. My information is at the bottom of the video. I'll look forward to working with everybody. And Jose, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you bring to the table, brother?
Sure thing, brother. Well, in addition to offering life insurance, we also offer clients a chance to exercise their safe money options. With the market the way it is, everybody's, a lot of people are a little bit weary about putting their money in the stock market, but everybody wants to see their money grow. Best way to do it these days, lock your money in an annuity. You're not guaranteed to be rich, but you won't lose a dime and you'll always gain some interest.
All right. So let's find out a little more about our young man running for office. Conrad, tell us a little thing.
Well, great evening, Beach Brothers Show viewers. Of course, I'm Conrad Schesventer, hotel worker, Virginia Beach Democrat Party member, and candidate for Rose Hall seat in Virginia Beach City Council. Go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/Conrad4VB and drop by raisethemoney.com/C Schesventer to leave a modest donation for the campaign effort. A little bit of news before we go into introducing our great guest tonight. Last night, the Nemo Republican Women's Club hosted former Beach Brothers Show guest and Republican Senate candidate Daniel Gade. Then they also had a forum between two former Beach Brothers Show guests, Jimmy Frost and Bill Cortes. Remember, they're going for the chairman's seat of the city Republican Party. And the Beach Brothers Show would like them both back on to simultaneously do a show before July 13th. Additionally, last night, the Virginia Beach Democratic Committee had their monthly meeting and hosted candidates for local office. Included were myself, Mayor candidate Jody Wagner, at-large candidate Brandon Hutchins, former Beach Brothers Show guest and sitting councilwoman Sina Wooten, Bill Dale, candidate for Kempsville's council seat, former delegate and candidate for Rose Hall seat Cheryl Turpin, and Gary Hubbard, also running for Rose Hall seat. All those names and more will have a seat right here on the Beach Brothers Show at a time of their convenience. Just hit me up, of course, to book. Today, it was hot and sunny here in Virginia Beach, like most July days, but it still doesn't really feel normal. For example, after a July 4th weekend, this hotel that I work at would still be selling over 80 rooms during the week per night. At $229 a pop, that's a lot of money. And that means we're losing about tens of thousands a day when only selling about 20 rooms between the weekends of July, which is sort of what we're doing now. When I drive up and down Pacific and Atlantic Avenues, it feels quieter than normal in July. This all means COVID is still relentlessly hurting our collective businesses. Today, I received word that the North American Sand Soccer Tournament, a highlight of the oceanfront, which had moved from June 5th to August 7th because of COVID, was canceled outright, and that set off cancellations at the hotel for that weekend. So we're still in this, folks. Virginia reported 638 new cases, with single-day highs both in Virginia Beach and Newport News. More than 100,000 Virginia businesses and nonprofits got payroll protection loans as a result of COVID. Also, Chesapeake School Board recently had a choice brought before them about whether kids should come back to school in the fall or continue distance learning. As we all digest that, and especially the children coming back to school information, let's welcome our guest tonight, Mr. Luis Cortes III. Mr. Cortez was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Virginia Beach Mayor Bobby Dyer's old stomping grounds. Raised by a single mother, he'd enlist in the Navy after high school. His first assignment brought him right here, and he moved in 1999. He served for 7 years, gaining experience with information technology. Then he worked for the Department of Defense and Homeland Security. He created his own business soon after. He's created a security firm and landscaping company. He also spent a lot of time studying autism as he could take better care of his son. He's now greatly passionate about serving students with special needs. He wants to empower parents regarding the educational needs of their children. Additionally, he traveled to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria to help out, returning to become owner of WVXX, the only Spanish radio station in Hampton Roads. He also helps out with Hotel Kids, a nonprofit helping to house homeless children. Mr. Cortez, your resume is clear in your actions to help children, and you're now running for the Centerville seat on Virginia Beach's school board. Why choose school board in 2020?
Thank you for having me, first of all. The reason why I chose school board is because, as everybody knows, or they don't know about me, but I have 4 children in the Virginia Beach school systems. 1 is in Chesapeake and 3 in Virginia Beach itself. 2 different school boards, 2 different forms of actually grading everything. And because of one of my youngest son, he has autism, and I felt that he wasn't being treated fairly as far as his education. And I was trying to fight for him to be able to obtain education, equal education as other kids. Because of this fighting and my research and everything that I was able to accomplish within the 2 years to be able to obtain my son equal education, I was able to get motivated to run. And that's why my decision to run came about.
All right, good stuff. So your son and his experience really tapped into you, man. Really tapped in. Tell me about the experience that your son had that would really kind of force you to move in that direction.
I mean, they were trying to make him a functional person, just to be able to live normal. But my argument to the school was, that's the parents' job to do. Your job is to teach. Anything to do with life skills and anything to do with self-sustaining is up to the parents to perform. Let us do, mom and dad perform that task. Don't try to do that in school. Focus on what you're actually supposed to be doing, which is development, education, so he could strive and be able to get a college degree like some other students are able to do.
Okay, so you didn't want your son to receive a applied studies degree. You wanted him to get a standard or higher degree.
Correct. I wanted him to obtain a high school diploma, so like that, opening the gates to go to college if he wants to.
Right. I'm glad we brought this up. That's something that's very important. You know, I'm a special ed teacher. My background, special education. Of course, I did counseling and some other stuff as well. But as an educator, it bothers me that too many of our students feel comfortable and their families feel comfortable, you know, settling for an applied studies diploma when they could pursue a standard and in some cases an advanced diploma. Because one of the things that happens, and I just need to add this to add some context to what you were saying, Luis, is if you have a standard or advanced diploma, then you're eligible for financial aid from the government, which means that you can go to college and they'll give you financial aid. You can receive scholarships from the colleges, you know. And the other thing is, if you're going into the military, you can go into the military with a standard or an advanced diploma, but you cannot go if you have a applied studies diploma. So it really does handicap some of our handicapped students. And I hate using that term. So I should probably say the students with disabilities, the students who receive services, in many ways are handicapped with that lower level diploma. All right.
Correct. Correct. And the thing is, the way they were going about like evaluating him wasn't even sufficient. I mean, there was nothing there to evaluate. They didn't even try him to see how his capabilities were in those regular classes and education until I pushed the issue. And once they realized that he was smarter than what they thought him of being, they gave him halfway, and from halfway, they made him full time.
Beautiful, beautiful. We just had Sister Berry who said that she kind of disagreed with the position that the teachers are always best. I mean, the parents are always best suited. We'll tag back to Cheryl's question a little later in the show. So if you have a question, we invite you to post your question, post your comment, and we will address it during the show. So Cheryl Berry, thank you, sister. We're going to address your comment a little later on. Here's the next question. So last year, school board candidate Robert Dean made it a hallmark to speak on the valedictorian and salutatorian names on academic achievement. So they're set to be phased out in 2022. So what's your stance on Val and Sal, or Sal and Val? And Sal and Val refer to salutatorian and valedictorian. Virginia Beach schools joined numerous other systems that decided to maybe do a cohort where they recognize a cohort of students rather than the top two in each one of their graduation classes. What's your position on Sal and Val?
My position is clear. I think it should stay. I grew up I was taught in a public school. We had a Val and Sal, and we were all ranked. What this does is encourage students to achieve excellence. And it's competition. Competition is always good. Are they going to tell me that they're going to give everybody a trophy for sports? No, there's a championship, and there's always a winner and there's always a loser. So we cannot take this away from students because it takes away what they're striving for. They're just there just to get by. We give teachers recognition, teachers of the month, superintendent of the year. I mean, we're doing this for our administration, but why are we taking it away from the children that might be looking for towards that, to work towards that, and to bring home valedictorian, salutatorian, to their parents who also have dedicated their time to make sure their child excels. So it's not just a recognition for the child, but as well as the parents' efforts to support their children in continuing education and to excellence.
Interesting. During the time when I ran in 2018, that was a heated discussion. That was a really heated discussion, and a lot of us really kind of went to bat on that particular position. Okay, all right. So, Brother Jose Cruz, our business bully from the Beach Brothers, you're up.
All right. Well, first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and shout out our first business for the evening, Carvel Ice Cream. It's located right on 3746 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach. I mean, especially with a time like this, everybody needs to stop in and get some ice cream or some milkshakes every now and then. Stop in and see Justin or Deanna at Carvel Ice Cream Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tell them Jose and the Beach Brothers sent you. And now, Mr. Lewis, good evening, sir. How you doing today?
I'm all right. So good evening.
I'm doing pretty good. All right, my first question for you. School safety will never not be important. Okay, in a city with an already undermanned police department, how might you wish to approach increasing the safety of children in schools?
Yes. Right now, they did a study. It was done, I think, believe it was last year, that Virginia Beach alone has a shortage of 75 police officers in the citywide. That's an entire precinct
Mm.
of shortage of police officer. Now, with also a lot of the officers retiring and no new ones coming through the academy, or because for whatever reason, and with everything that's going on right now with defunding the police and all the current events that is going on right now in our times, is making it harder for the police to actually man the streets. So what I'm proposing is Virginia has a unique, law that's under code 19.2-13, which what it does, it empowers citizens to be sworn peace officers under the direction of the Department of Criminal Justice, and they'll be licensed and sworn in by a circuit court judge to perform, to literally have police powers. It is a private security. It'll be a private company. They could contract it out. They'll get more officers for the same price of one police officer. The city overhead doesn't have to pay any 401k benefits because they're now contracted. They still do all the background check. Everything is done through the Department of Criminal Justice. So they have their credentials that meet what has to be standardized statewide, and they have their insurance requirements. They have their background checks, and they have everything. So this will give us more security in the schools and freeing up the SSO officers that are in schools and actually put them back on the streets to patrol the streets and actually man the streets to what they were supposed to be doing. That's my plan. That's something I was trying before I even um, thought about running. I was
Right.
talking to a couple of chiefs of police and other police officers try to get an idea. So it was something that I was working on before.
Okay.
Okay, good. Hey, brother Conrad is coming up with the next question, but we did have an interesting question that populated. So I was hoping, Louis, that you wouldn't mind taking this opportunity to answer this question directly. And Cheryl and some of the other commenters, we'll get back to your question expeditiously. But yeah, so can you answer Kevin's question? We hear a lot about student safety in the midst of the pandemic, but what is your plan to keep teachers safe? I thought this question was interestingly poignant because you were talking about school safety. We hear a lot about student safety in the midst of the pandemic. What are your plans to keep teachers safe?
Sure. I mean, my thing is we have to bring discipline back into schools. We have a Renaissance Academy that's so underutilized. There's no referrals. The children, some of the children are not even being reprimanded for the things that they're doing. You got teachers getting beat up. You have disrespected. So and the teachers have no power. So the thing is, we have to focus on that and bring that back. I mean, back in our time, I'm sure when we were going to school, we thought one time to talk back to a teacher because we knew what was going to happen. One was a phone call to our parents, and two, we're going to have detention or we were going to get in trouble. So these are things we have to in the policies, but they're not being enforced. So we have to start enforcing policies that we have already in place and actually move forward and take care of the discipline issues that we have in our school system and utilize the Renaissance Academy that was built state of the art and is underutilized right now for the last, I think, 2 years, 3 years has been underutilized.
Okay, just need to unmute myself. Okay. I want to take a minute to point out I get to and from work at the ocean front in my Jetta, and that has great AC on hot days like today. And I got it from Southern Volkswagen in Chesapeake, 1248 South Military Highway. Stop in for a car with AC just as good as mine for July days like this. Speak with Cynthia Rawlings and Charlie Roy for the service you'd expect with a Volkswagen. And on the topic of service, we fully appreciate the service provided to Virginia Beach through our public school system. Efficiency can be honed with a discipline force. You've just began to touch on that. But we know school discipline often more harshly affects Black and Brown students. Is it possible to maintain effective and efficient discipline without disproportionately hurting our minority students and sending them in the school to prison pipeline here in Virginia Beach?
And the answer to that is yes, we can. And as everybody, me being a Latino, I could speak on it on as far as our culture. We try to engage our students, parents. We have to engage our parents to like that. Our parents could engage with us and be engaged fully with their children. Sometimes parents don't get told what their kids are doing. And if we don't communicate with our parents, or we don't reach out to our parents so they could be our biggest allies in the schools, we don't have an ally at home. So without that ally at home, how will the students react to authority? We need to have that relationship built between educators and parents and administrators, so we could work together as a team. Because at the end of the day, our children are the ones that are suffering and are going to be lacking the discipline, the knowledge, and just overall, mentorship. Mentorship is a big thing, especially in the minority communities. We feel that the minority communities suffer a lot due to the fact that maybe absentee fathers. There's different obstacles in the minority community that we may have to address or study a little bit further, and see how can we bridge the gap and unify, and bring them closer to us, so that their views on authority are not as aggressive, or as feel like they're being pressured, is what I feel.
Interesting. We've had a couple of comments and questions that I'd like to take in now before we continue with our questions. So let's take it back to the top. Cheryl Berry has another great question for you, Luis. The technology for safety is 20 to 30 years behind New York City. Salute to NYC, Brooklyn born. Brooklyn is a blood type. I'll leave it at that. Couldn't even enter a school without walking through a metal detector in New York City. Clear backpacks. No ID, no admittance. Any thoughts on that, brother?
Yes. As a student,
yeah, because Brooklyn is a blood type.
Yeah, yes, it is. And as a product of the Newark public school system, I could relate to
Salute to Jersey.
In our schools, I remember going to high school. Book bags were you went to the metal detector. They searched it. Any liquids that were found, they were taken. Any they didn't even allow, back in the day, was pagers. Pagers had to be kept in the lockers. If they were caught in the classrooms, they were gone. They were confiscated, and your parent had to come in to retrieve them. And these are issues that we see now that are getting out of hand. Technology is disrupting the classroom, preventing kids from learning, and we have to get a grasp on this. We have to implement policy and enforce them to prevent disruption in the classroom from learning.
Okay.
And the safety as well with the metal detector.
All right, good. Brother Paul It is known that VB is having a shortage of officers because they can make more money after putting in a couple of years and then transferring to the state police or another city. Uh, interesting, Paul. So Luis dropped off. We're going to have him back on as soon as he joins us again. And thank you for that question. Paul. Paul is also running for the school board, so that's an interesting question. All right, let's see what Lisa says. I love Lisa's message. As a parent of a child that has an IEP and is now a high school student, it's been my responsibility as a parent to reinforce the learning of life skills. Her teachers have assisted in that endeavor, but they have a curriculum that they are given to follow, and they are working with multiple children. So individual attention is limited. That's kind of interesting because that seems to go with Cheryl's point, who she disagreed. She says that some of the teachers are better at teaching life skills than the parents. And she also further stated that everything depends on the individual. So that's the point of working on a joint IEP with the teachers. And for anybody who's not familiar with the IEP process, the IEP process is a process with the staff, the students, and the parents to make sure that we come up with the best plan and the best method of delivery, educational delivery, curriculum delivery for our particular student. It is individualized. Okay, we had a couple of interesting comments. Raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. Pass Bush, Lewis, and PRO Act. National ban on right to work. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see you.
I don't know what happened to the camera.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have Brother Cortez answer, but we just won't get a chance to see him. Okay. Oh, maybe something's happening now. All right, so Brother Conrad, even though we can't see our good friend Cortez, Mr. Cortez, go ahead and with your question.
Well, this is a show that highlights politicians as well as business and business people. Luckily, you being here brings both, Mr. Cortez. Can we have you underscore the services you provide in the private sector and any goals for growth you might want to have in that going forward?
Yes. As far as my business, I do own the only Latin station in Hampton Roads. What we do is we provide music information to the Latino community, um, and what we've been doing during COVID, we've been helping all the communities, not just Latino community. We've been helping all the communities with the COVID-19 testing, food, toiletries, books, other materials for the youth, in order to keep them occupied so the parents could feel less stressed about not knowing what to do with their children at home 24/7. So we partnered up with a lot of organizations, and we've been doing already. We're going on 13 on our 13 event this Saturday.
Wow. Okay.
Twice a month during the beginning of the stages. We did it 3 times a month. We've gone from Newport News to Portsmouth to Virginia Beach. We did 3. We're about to go to Chesapeake to do our 3rd one in Chesapeake. So we're moving. We're engaging the community every aspect of the way. We feel that we have to help. We have an obligation as citizens. If you believe in God, so we have as Christians. We have to do the Lord's work as well. So these are things that we have to do, and I've decided to do this, not for political reasons, but it is because it comes from the heart. Like I said before, I've done it in 2015. I didn't think about running back then, and I continued to do it all the way through, giving kids Christmas gifts in hotels, book bags. So we've done a long list of things since 2015 up to now, and now with the radio station, we could do a little bit further, a little bit more, because we have the outlet, the media outlet, to speak, to actually represent a community, and just engage with everyone, not just one particular community, but everyone in general.
Great, great, great. I love that answer. I love that answer. I want to take a moment to highlight one thing that deals with business that can impact our communities. So the 200 plus men is doing a green book of Greater Hampton roads, and they're looking for all of the SWAM businesses, that's small women and minority businesses, to submit their information. So the link, if you are a SWAM business owner, you don't have to be SWAM certified. We're just trying to pull together all of the small women and minority owned businesses and identify them. And we want to make sure that they get their correct and needed, much needed support. And it's good to know that Selecta, Mr. Cortez's radio station, is a part of the great cascade and landscape of businesses that we have here in the Hampton Roads area. Okay. All right. Jose, I think you're up next, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, Brother Lewis. Aside from Conrad, Seko and I were both parents here on the Beach Brothers. You are as well, and you are as well. And one of your wonderful kids happens to be on the spectrum for autism. You've become well aware of the spectrum. And how would you like Virginia Beach City Schools to grow in their educational services for children who are in need of quality special education?
Great question. We have to learn. Education is everything. Even as educators, we don't know everything. A lot of people think, oh, because you're a teacher, you know everything. No, I think always have to continue doing our continuing education and keep on learning. With autism doesn't. They don't even know where it comes from. They think it's food. They want it's vaccines. They're speculating. They're guessing. So we're doing like a trial and error. So with this is we have to get more. I believe is more groups together. There's a lot of parents that don't even know what autism is, Asperger, which is they're similar. They don't know so what we're proposing to do is bring in communities with the Autism Speaks. You have the Virginia Infant Toddler Program, which I was lucky enough to find them when my son was a year and a half. um, that was the only reason that they, with their help, but nobody was able to guide me. This is something that my research and my computer savvy skills was able to lead me to do my research, my own research, and obtain that information so I could educate myself and get the proper help for my child. You see, these are information that are not given or is not translated to a lot of people. So that's why I say that we have to continue educating ourselves. And I see a question that says that science proves that vaccines. I did say that. I mean, so what I did mention is there's speculating. People are guessing that maybe it's vaccines, maybe it's food, maybe it's genetics. They don't know. We don't have a clear cut answer on what causes autism yet.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
All right. All right. Hey, Cheryl Berry, thank you for your comments. I love the fact that she's so engaged, sister. And the great thing about the Green Book is we're going to get companies before they're SWAM certified. So she just mentioned if you go to the EVA procurement site, you can find those who are SWAM certified, but not everybody's on there. And we're trying to make sure we get as many of us who have businesses on there as possible. So, Brother Cortez, the grading scale in Virginia Beach has shifted from time to time over the years. Do you think that the change that we recently had was a positive change? There are some that would agree that the change was negative. Would you like to bring back an earlier letter grading system to Virginia Beach City Public Schools? Would you like to bring back an earlier letter grading system to Virginia Beach City Public Schools?
My answer to that is yes. Like I said, coming from up north, having a daughter in Chesapeake, they have a letter grading skill. Letter grading. I think it just, like I said before, with Sal and Val, it gives children a chance to compete and show, hey, mom, look, I got an A, I got a B. Put it on the on a fridge. You know, right now, when I saw the grading system, Here, when my child came from home from school and got a report card, I was expecting A, B's, and C's. And when I see D, P, P, and all this other stuff I said, what is this? This is not a grade, you know. And a lot of parents feel the same way. Therefore, I think this whole taking the grading system out and just putting these letters, I think is a way to cripple our children from excelling, or from striving more, feeling that what they're thinking about is making them feel bad because they didn't get the grade that the other person got, or earned, because nobody gets anything. You earn it. Therefore, I feel that the grading system should go back. It should go back because it just motivates kids. It gives them something to fight for and strive for, and that's excellence, and that's what we want. We don't want our kids to be what is it, content. Oh, I just passed. I got a P. No, that's not what we want. We want them to get that A, and fight for that A, and say, well, I got an A, I'm gonna maintain it, work harder. Now you open their minds to excel and to look at other things that they could probably do it. You challenge the kids, and the kid's mind is a beautiful thing. And I say this because watching my son that has autism, work, and I challenge him day on and day night, and you see him, he wants to give up, and you say, no, buddy, you got to keep it going, and you could do this. So you motivate him, and when you do it, when he does it, you celebrate him, because the reason being is that's how you motivate self-esteem, and that's how you bring your kids up and you elevate them to a new standard, that no matter who in school wants to bully, wants to say whatever they want, these kids have a self-esteem that's so strong, they're not going to care what the other kids are saying. Like you guys that are from New York, we were taught the hard knock life. you know Kids bullied us all the time because of the shoes we wear, where we
Right.
live, what we look like, if we had a haircut, we went home, our clothes were ironed. These are things that it didn't bother us, because the thing is, we didn't care, because we knew at the end of the day we were doing what we had to do to get our grades. And that's something that, I think we have to focus and strive on being better, and continue that, because that'll help a development of our children to be stronger people and think more.
Wow, Lisa, who's a great friend of the Beach Brothers show, I love I love Lisa's comment. She says you have to give children something to strive for, not just pass or fail. Give them a sense of accomplishment. Hey, Luis, I'm going to pull you off. I want you to tap back on and see if that will fix the problem that we're having. All right. We'll see if that'll fix the problem that we're having. Okay. So you're watching the Beach Brothers show. I'm Seko Varner. I have my good friend Conrad. I have my good friend Jose Cruz with us. And we're dealing with a young man who's running for the school board in Virginia Beach. Ooh, now my camera's acting trippy. Oh, man. So we're bringing him back on, and that's Luis Cortez. And I think he's back. And he's
Yeah, I'm
back.
back. I'm back.
He's back. All right. Brother Jose, you have the next question, brother. It's on you, man.
All right, welcome back, Lewis.
Thank you.
All right, so Virginia Beach has some notable specialized academies: global studies at Tallwood, health sciences at Bayside, legal studies at First Colonial, STEM at Lansdowne, visual and performing arts at Salem, and entrepreneur and business at Kempsville. Would there be any benefits to breaking some of those up and say have businesses taught as a general education at all Virginia Beach high schools?
I think, you know, personally, I think that we should. These high schools need to learn everything, but we have to develop other skills. One thing that studies show, not every kid is made out wants to go to college. So what we have to start doing is, I propose, is having extend our maybe trades. Um, There's kids that there's people that don't want to go to college, but they could become plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs. You have so many opportunities that you can make a lot of money in this market, in those fields, and you don't have to have the overhead of having all the student loans. Um, I feel having these things will open the horizon and open the eyes of a lot of opportunities, auto mechanics, a lot of stuff. Remember back in the day, we had auto shop, we had woodworking, wood shop. These are things that it tried young men, and they had home and economics for the young ladies, and even men if wanted to take you didn't have to be a certain sex to obtain those classes, but it opened our eyes of what we were good at and what we weren't good and what we wanted to go about doing, even computer AutoCAD, because the IT field is excelling. This is the future. So if they don't want, if you see a child that's struggling, maybe in general education, but you maybe do a aptitude test and say, hey, let's see, maybe he's good in math, maybe he's good in coding, like the ASVAT does, and maybe okay, let's try you go into a technology based education. Maybe you're good in IT, and then you can still get your high school diploma, but focus on your IT, get your certs. So if you obtain your certs, you're able to be already ready for the workforce, and without having all that college loans that every student. You have kids that go to college that don't even have a job. They got bachelor's, masters. They can't even find a job because they took something about they took maybe I don't want to knock some philosophy or something like that. So what job can you get as a philosophy major? There's not that much. So so you got all these years doing all this studying, and you don't have a job, but your student loans keep on piling out, incurring interest, and you're already in debt. And that's something that is hurting our young people in the credits and everything, and they feel like they're trapped. And but frankly, student loans are not forgivable. You can't just bankrupt a student loan. So given giving the kids an option to either go with general education if they want to pursue further, or trade, and broaden with all the other stuff that they're doing at Kellum and Tallwood and everything else, is a great thing to do. I'm all for it, but let's do it. Let's do it responsibly. Let's do it not overnight. It's a step-by-step process, a working process, but it could be achievable. Giving students options, giving parents options for their kids is always the best results because it meets everybody's needs. Right now, we have a shortage on plumbers. I mean, you have shortages in a lot of trades right now in the economy. If you look at statistics, trades are hurting, and everybody wants to go to college, but college is not made for everyone. You know, it's the truth. Not a lot of people want to hear it, but it's the truth. And we have to capitalize that and change our ways and work with what's going on right now in the current job market. Can't focus just strictly on colleges. We have to work on trades.
What's interesting, Lisa says also give classes on basic life skills like opening a bank account and balancing the checkbook. Also teaching students about the importance of attaining credit and the credit score, things that are useful in everyday life.
I agree.
And I agree with that. And
I agree with that.
I was thinking about throwing maybe some economics or financial planning, like they do in the military. When you join in the military, you're an E1. What they do is they make you go to a financial counseling and planning, so you can learn all that stuff. So why are we not teaching high schoolers to prepare themselves to be adults? Because once they become to a senior, they're an adult as soon as they graduate. Most of them are 18. That means mommy and daddy are no longer, financially responsible for you if you don't really go to school, technically.
Cameron Baker states that those classes already exist. I know that my children both had to take a finance class while they were in high school, and they both, my daughter just graduated from Salem High School, salute to the Sun Devils, and my son graduated from Lansdowne, and that was 2018 when he graduated. So I know that those classes exist. When I was running, I was saying that the classes are there, but I don't believe that is robust enough. I don't believe it's robust enough. And I like what you're saying, because one of the things that, well, and
and that's something we could check. We could redo
one
our
of them
research.
is. I think it. Well, it. You know, and JC says not all schools. With the Virginia curriculum, it different students may have a different path. I don't know if you're pursuing a applied studies diploma, you may not necessarily take that finance class. However, if you're pursuing a standard diploma, and I don't have the regs in front of me, so I don't want to quote it and get anything wrong. But
Correct.
The fact is, you know, Brother Cortez is interested in making sure that those classes are effective and that there are a lot more opportunities. One of the things that really bothered me when I ran is I realized that there was a large amount of workforce opportunities that our schools were not as connected with. So if you win that seat, or whoever wins that seat, I want to see a stronger connection with the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. I used to work with them. I know that we were missing a boat. Now, there are programs that are out there, but I just don't believe that they're robust enough. You know, one of the brothers, Paul, said that ATC is already an option for technology students. Paul, and you know, Paul's running for the school board as well. One of the things that I found bothersome, Paul, is that even though ATC is available, you have to make that declaration your sophomore year, the end of your sophomore year, so you can participate your junior and senior year in some of the ATC programs. There is a few that are 1-year programs, but in most cases, the end of your sophomore year, you have to declare and get set up to go to the ATC program. I think that we're missing out when we have a lot of opportunities in the workforce that a person can join in their junior year, their senior year, and be prepared for those opportunities like Mr. Cortez is talking about.
And one thing,
go ahead.
And one thing that we did in back in about, let's say, our hometowns, for juniors and seniors, they had summer jobs for the kids so they could learn the workforce. Virginia doesn't even have a program to allow the youth to do on a workforce program with the city itself as an intern, to do filing, to do certain things that the other cities used to do back at home in New Jersey. That we did it. I worked at City Hall. So these are things that you learn, but you have to maintain a B average student in order to qualify for those jobs. And it was minimum wage paid, but it helped you, gave you a sense of what you're looking for. It prepared you what it was for the workforce. It was like a 6-week program that they had for the juniors and seniors in high school, so they could get them prepared for workforce.
Quick question. Cameron Baker asked an excellent question. It's one of the things that disturbs me about some of our boards, including the school board, is that they really don't have as much empowerment as we are led to believe. So there can always be more rigor within these criterion. However, Cameron says, how does a local school board member make that change when it's a state mandate? Any thoughts on that?
You know, everything has to be with legislation. You have legislation and the facts, yeah, and research. You have to have all this stuff ironed out and ready to go to present it to legislative, to your senators and local and in the state and over in Richmond. You present all these things, and you meet with other, school board members and other jurisdictions, and try to work together and say, hey, what are you seeing? What let's work together collectively. Yes, everybody says, right now everybody says about nonpartisan or whatever, but I know that there's still right now there's battling because of blue or red, and nothing is getting done no matter where, and that's
And
an
it's
issue.
disturbing.
It's a major disservice for our children, our teachers, everything. And this is why nothing is getting done, is because they're too busy arguing back and forth about who's what, and nothing is being done, is being overlooked at. We need to focus on the job at hand. And I'm sure the other candidate that's running, that's on here, he agrees that we have to work for a common ground and a common cause, and that is our teacher safety and our children.
Okay. Next question. In September 2018, VB School Board adopted a 15-year master plan for long-term school rebuilding. However, as schools get closer and closer to $1 billion in annual VB budget spending, we're not getting enough funding to rapidly replace schools like First Colonial, Kempsville, Betty F., which is elementary. So, how much of a priority is it to join with school board and fight to secure funding towards school replenishment?
You know, the okay. So in that aspect, we have to check our budget. We have to see where we overspending, what is needed and what is not. I see that right now we have staffers, with literally a chief of staff and do we really need that salary? Is my question. I mean, we have a lot of stuff that we have that we're overspending or we're, let's say, not managing our budget correctly. And I feel that once you could manage actual budget and cut out the fat, like I say, we could focus on that and put that money to where it needs to go to rebuild some of these schools, to focus on actually what the students need, not just a salary because you don't want to do something. You don't want to task, or you don't want to work a little harder. We have to do. Everybody has to do their step, but at the end of the day, we have to do what's right for our students and our teachers, and that this is something that um, I'm going to fight for it. I want to research it. I need to get in there and hit the ground running. But first, I got to get elected. I can't, from the outside in, I can't do anything about it. I have to get elected. I have to go in there and work hard and try to bring everybody to the table, because right now it's not happening.
Good question. Good answer. And good luck. Brother Conrad, take us home, brother. Take us.
Before I get ready to do a nice little closeout, under the impression I think Mr. Jose has something to say.
Yeah, it was just to piggyback a little bit off of what Seko was saying. I mean, like, yes, we know that the classes and these programs, these finance programs, they already exist, but not everyone knows about them. That is not communicated to all these students, you know, clearly enough that they're all aware of it. That's one. Two, I think something like what Miss Lisa was saying, basic life skills and a finance class. I don't think it should just exist. I think it should, my personal opinion, I think it should be a requirement in order for you to even graduate, because those are things that you're gonna need in life. You're gonna need that once you graduate high school. So if you don't know how to do it, guess what? You don't have the money to pay somebody else to do it. So you're already setting yourself up for failure from the beginning. So I personally think it should be not only available, but I think it should be a requirement in order for you to even get a basic diploma.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Jose, and also thank you, Mr. Lewis. It's great to be able to finally meet you this weekend at the Virginia Beach Breakfast. Glad we were able to have you on tonight, and I would actually look forward to have you on possibly multiple times before November 3rd. And if we're capable, maybe get a nice Beachwater School Board forum, and you and others can join in, and we could just talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. If any questions, everybody can look at my website. Go to our Facebook page also, and just I'm always able to interact. I'm willing to talk to people and let them explain myself to them, and just present my ideas. Um, my again, multiple ideas is always the best. Not everybody, one person doesn't have all the answers, but collectively, it takes a whole village to build, to grow our children, not just one person. And if we all put our little, part and play our roles, then I'm sure we could be successful, and our children could be successful.
I agree. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we want to thank Luis Cortez for being on the show with us, good brother. Hey,
Thank you for
keep
having
doing
me.
all the good work that you're doing, man. Keep doing all the good work that you're doing. All right.
Hey, maybe you guys could come out and volunteer for us. We need some more volunteers for Saturday.
So, you know what? Okay. So what's happening Saturday? Go over that one more time. What on us?
We'll be. Let me pull up the flyer. We're gonna be in Chesapeake. The church that we're gonna be at a church is gonna be us with the health department, Chesapeake Health Department, the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia, Latinos en Acción, and we're gonna be doing pretty much COVID-19 testing with food giveaway to the entire community that shows up. No questions asked. If you want to get a COVID testing, come on out, get tested. The address is 2020 Port Lock Road, Chesapeake, Virginia, from 10 to 2 in the afternoon. And you hope to see you guys there. And just we need all the volunteers we can get because we usually get a big crowd and we help a lot of people. We do practice safe, social distancing. We have face masks, and nobody gets out the cars. They usually do a drive-through, so they get their stuff from the cars and they just keep them moving.
All right.
What do you think, brothers?
Yeah. You want to do it?
What do you think, brothers? What do you think?
Let's do it, man. Let's do
All
it.
right, we're there.
You could do a live from there, and I let you guys see what we do on a monthly basis. This is something we do, and then we'll have another one on the 18th with Grace Bible Church and Operation Blessing and United Way.
All right. Well, we want to thank our special guest today. Man, he had a lot to say. It looks like the school board race is going to be intriguing. It's going to be intriguing. So look, he's going against Trinice Bass, right?
I believe so.
I think the last name is Riggs.
Trinice Riggs. Yeah, okay. I messed that up. I mixed her up with the girl. Wow, Trinice Bass. She's a young lady I had a crush on in high school.
Hey, look at you.
Woo, she's still on my mind. Wow, that's crazy. So shout out to my wifey for lifey. Shout out to my wifey for lifey. She may have popped in my mind, but you're the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Good answer. Good answer.
Ooh, she has me trained. All right, gentlemen.
You attend MIT. You're a man in training.
Any last words?
No, great show, and I guess Mr. Lewis can expect the Beach Brothers on Saturday.
Awesome show. Glad to enjoy this night with you guys. Remember Conrad for Virginia Beach City Council. Stop by the Facebook page, drop a donation on the website too. And I'll see you guys around.
All right, good stuff. My last words, power to the protesters, and reparations is the issue of the day. Take care. Keep it beachy.